You're in the Board of Selectmen? Okay. Okay, no, that's good. Okay. I just need to, my brain's just not working. It's okay. I'll get there. I'll get there. Now, do I need to hand you host for now? Right. Okay, so you are host now. Do you want to make me co-host and we'll just do it that way? Calvin's in the. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna pause my.
We'll call this meeting of the Durham Board of Selectmen to order on December 22nd, 2020. Since we're still in Zoom format, I need to call a roll. So select board members, please say something when I call your name to confirm that everybody's hear you. Rob Ponto.
Here.
Rich George.
Here.
Todd Boyer.
Here.
Kevin Netto is here, and then we'll have Mark say something when he is able to join us. Anybody have amendments to the agenda? Seeing none. Comment. Is there anybody here that wants to say something in the public comment page? I only see one name that isn't part of the regular attendees, although this person is actually a regular attendee, but anyone? Public comment going once, going twice, gone. Okay, action and discussion items. 4A is a discussion about items to encumber for 2021. Ruth, you want to? Well, you're muted, I think. We can't hear you.
Am I muted? You can't hear me?
Looks lost in the woods out there.
Yeah, well, about.
Oh, there we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I was gonna say you should be able to hear me. Okay, so the two things that I wanted to encumber are for the truck and the $8,000 for the manager search.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me. Do we need a board vote to do that?
Yes, please.
Okay. No, so nothing else. Just those two things?
Yep.
We'll take care of it. Okay. So how does, just for the benefit of people that might be watching this, encumbering means that we basically, these funds will not go back to undesignated. We're essentially holding them over into the next budget year to be used still for their originally voted on purpose. Is that
Correct.
right? Okay.
Correct.
So, and basically what it means is we don't have to vote on it again because the town has already voted on it. We just, because of COVID and other things and delays with the public works truck, we didn't actually expend the money this budget year. It will get expended next budget year.
Right.
Okay. Anybody have any questions or comments or concerns about that?
Do we need to state the exact amounts for the minutes?
Please. Yeah.
What was the exact
Oh,
amount?
188,600 for the truck and the $8,000 for the manager search.
Would you say 188.6?
Yeah, right, Calvin?
Yep.
Well, I'll make a motion that we encumber $188,600 for the purchase of a plow truck and $8,000 for the town manager search for 2021.
Second it.
Seconds that. Any further discussion before we call the vote? Although I want to confirm, Mark, could you just say something so we can confirm that we can hear you?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay,
Apologize
Mark,
for being late.
and he'll be able to vote on this. Okay, so we have a motion. We have a second from Todd. Any further discussion on this one? Okay, please state your vote, whether you're in favor of the motion or not when I call your name. Rob Ponto,
Yes.
Rich George,
Yes.
Todd Bullier,
Yes.
Mark Farren.
I'll abstain just because I didn't hear all the discussion, so.
Okay, all right, that's fine. And I am a yes, so we have a 4-0 motion passes. Okay, now 4B, staying with Ruth, is the budget schedule.
Yes, I'm a little discombobulated today. So I had done up, we had talked about the idea that we would need to get the budget, if we're going to do a ballot, we would have to get it printed and out by the beginning of February. And so I have completed a budget
So, hey,
calendar.
Ruth, let me, so I just want to say it has to be the beginning of February if we're going to have our town meeting the first Saturday in April. If we decide to have our town meeting a little bit later, then that date could shift, right?
Well, there's a couple of issues with that. The first issue is that we're only really allowed to spend about a quarter of our budget. And the other issue is that the date was actually voted on at town meeting in 2006. So in 2006, the town voted to have it the first, they were going to do the elections the first Friday before the first Saturday in April.
Yeah, I know that, but I believe just like a town vote that the town meeting shall be by referendum, those votes are not binding beyond the 1 year that they're voting for. But I think that's our intent. If we can pull it off, I agree. That's what we should shoot for. I'm just saying that it's not a concrete hard line if for some reason something happens and we can't meet it.
Okay. Do you want me to share it or you guys? Okay. All right, guys. Can you see it?
Yep.
Okay. So maybe on the wrong screen, but so that there's a select board meeting for the MMA on the 5th. And then the first budget presentation would be on the 7th. The second one would be on the 11th. The third one could actually be on the 12th or the 14th. I don't know what. And then the following week, the select board would vote on their recommendations. And then the week after, the budget committee would vote on their recommendations. And then you could do the approval for the warrant on the 28th, which would get us there in time. We would just have to make sure everything was. You can't hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but we're not seeing the calendar anymore.
Oh, sorry. I think I moved it. I'm working it. I'm at work today.
Oh.
There we go. Is that better? Anyways, so that's what it would look like.
Okay. I know why you're avoiding Wednesdays. Well, I guess probably 2 reasons. One is the office is closed, and 2, there's a budget committee member that has commitments on Wednesday. But does that create any issues, any crunches on the calendar? Because my point is we should avoid Wednesday meetings just to accommodate one person.
Not unless we run into an issue. I mean, if we were to run in, well, it's going to be Zoom, so the storm's not going to be an issue. Unless you guys needed an extra day. I mean, I don't see where that would be an issue.
All right, that's fine. All right, so let's see. So somewhere by the 14th, we would have the presentation.
Right.
On the 19th, we would have to put that's when we'd be voting on our recommendations as a board to send to the budget committee. Is that right?
Yeah.
19th.
Yes.
Okay. And so that gives the budget committee basically from the 19th until the 26th to get their work done?
Yes.
Is that what
Yep.
okay. And then we get the recommendations and we maybe adjust maybe or not any of our recommendations and come to final warrant approval on the 28th. Ooh, that's a tight schedule.
Yeah,
That's a lot of meetings.
it's aggressive.
I wasn't sure whether to do the 12th as your regular select board meeting, because you're also dealing with the manager issue. And so I thought maybe the 12th might be another date for you guys to talk about the manager stuff as well as the normal selectmen meeting.
I think we can leave it on there, but I think in the month of January that we should pretty much be focused on the budget and keep as many other things, optional things, if you will, off the agenda until we can get to February. Because the 26th would be a regular select board meeting as well, right?
Yes, and we can have 2 meetings, so that could work.
All right, comments from board members? What do you guys think of this?
Ruth, will the department heads be ready for the 7th to start with?
They have gotten me their budgets and I'm putting them together to hopefully print them out and put them in books next Monday and Tuesday so that people can pick them up. Yep, we're there.
Okay.
We're going to have to estimate some of the numbers as far as the what we spent this year, because there's still a few things outstanding.
That'll be good practice when we go to a fiscal year and you're estimating anyway. Any other questions or concerns with this? I mean, I don't think what the budget committee doesn't require select board attendance at their meetings. It's often helpful if somebody can attend to explain things, but it's not required. So Ruth, you're thinking you're gonna get the third budget. There is a third budget presentation. Budget. You don't think we can get that budget presentations in two nights? Because I don't feel the need to have department heads go line by line through their budget. I think if they, my opinion, it's just my opinion, if they come into these meetings and basically said, last year our budget was this, and maybe a little bit of readout on where they over or underspent, and then this year I'm asking for, 2% increase, and here's why. I think they should be prepared to answer questions at the line item level if it comes up, but I don't know if we need to go through every single line. I don't know what others think of that. Maybe others feel like they need that level of detail, but which is fine.
Totally with you, Kevin. I think we can condense that down to 2. And I'm looking, what's the 19th select board budget recommendations? And then the budget committee makes theirs on the 25th and 26th.
Yeah, we could probably move that to the 21st. That might, if they could do it on the 21st and the 25th.
That's
then
right. And then
you guys could
we'll-
do your approval on the 26th during your regular meeting.
Yes.
yeah. Take that. I would say take this, the Monday, the 11th out, and then we just have 2 budget presentations and get through them in 2 nights. And then, and move the budget committee to the 21st if that works for them, and then take the 28th out.
So you're talking about the 7th and the 12th for the select board. I mean, for the presentations. And then.
No, 7th and 14th for presentations. Unless, I guess I'd do the 12th. We probably could just have a 10-minute regular meeting if we had to approve a warrant before the budget.
Yeah, I think,
So,
yep.
Okay.
So 7th and 12th.
And then if we have to go into the 14th, we could have that one available.
Yep. So we take the 11th off. and we take the 28th off and make that, we do that on the 26th.
Yep, and so we'll move the budget committee to the 21st and the 25th.
Yep.
Okay.
Because having seen the presentations, I would think 2 nights should be enough for them to go through and make their recommendations.
Okay, I will fix that.
All right, good. Everybody feeling okay about that?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Next on the agenda, 4C, New Year's Eve holiday. Is New Year's Eve a holiday?
Not
No.
usually, it's not. Several communities in our area, as an appreciation for the work that people have done this year with COVID, are giving New Year's Eve as a holiday, as an addition to the other holidays. Since we can't give any bonuses because we're a municipality, and because it's been such a difficult year, I just thought you guys might want to consider it.
Board thoughts on that?
I didn't know municipalities couldn't get bonuses.
No, we can't give bonuses, not Christmas
Are
bonuses.
you getting bonuses, Rob?
It's built into the personnel and benefits policy.
Is it really? I've never seen a bonus at a municipality.
It's not a lot, but it is possible. There's no statute against it. But anyway, we traditionally close a half day early anyway to let you guys close the books out. And
Yeah, so what it really means is for my department, the other departments, it would be different, but for my department, we're supposed to be open from 8:30 to 12, and then we're gonna close the books. So what we would do is we would come in on Wednesday and close the books. And so we would be open a full day on the Tuesday, and then come in Wednesday for as long as it would take, and then have Thursday off.
And you're talking doing it town-wide, so it would be Public Works as well. The only caveat I have is if for some reason there's a storm and they're in plowing on New Year's Eve, and it would be a normal hours of pay otherwise, I don't want to be paying overtime plus holiday pay because of that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's the only hiccup I have. Otherwise, I don't think it's a bad idea. So.
Any other board members have thoughts on this one? Yeah, I mean, I guess I would agree with the sentiment that, that it has definitely been a tough year, especially at the town office, in terms of work environment and expectations and what's been out there. So, how do we address Rob's point though about, like Calvin, what are your thoughts if for some reason we need to plow that day, and the guys are working, do we just, how do we deal with that?
I don't think there's any way around it, really. I'd have to pay them holiday pay plus potentially time and a half.
What now? Why the time and a half? Just if it happened to be into overtime?
Yeah.
Does holiday add towards overtime for the work week?
No. You only get overtime for hours worked over 40.
Okay.
If there's a holiday in that week, it usually takes most of it, wipes out.
So they get their regular pay for the day that they're in, and then the holiday pay?
Yeah.
All right. I'm okay with that. I just didn't want it to add up and you start getting into 2.5, 3 times pay and so forth, but okay.
I can't see the weather pattern right now. Potentially that could happen if they had enough hours.
What could happen?
They could end up with
That could
2.5
happen when we-
times.
Huh?
You could end up with double time and a half. Well,
Yeah, well, if they're already on overtime because it's been storming all week, that's another story. I'm just saying,
that's what I mean.
yeah.
But it wouldn't be because it was, like, do we have a kicker for holiday? Like, for instance, if take this off the table, if on New Year's Day or Christmas Day, guys have to go in and plow, do we pay a premium on those days?
Actually, it is in there that if they work on a holiday, it's automatic time and a half.
Okay. So I don't think we're going to declare, if we decide to do this, we're not going to declare it as a holiday because it's,
Right.
we
Right.
could say the town is closed that day. And have it not be a holiday, technically.
The other thing I could do is rather than pay them the holiday pay, I could give them half a day on a couple of other days. So,
Yeah.
I could pick another day or something to.
I see what you're saying.
You can give them a comp day, is what you're saying, Calvin.
Yeah.
Ruth, if we decide, what if we approached it, like, can we add hours for a comp day into our payroll system? And then when an employee decides to take it, it gets, debited off those hours?
Yeah, we have a line for comp time, so you could add 8 hours of comp time.
All right. I think that might be a good approach, is to say the town office is going to be closed that day, and for non-town office town employees, we could add 8 hours comp time to their schedule. But
Sounds good.
any board members have any opinions on that approach?
Sounds good.
Yeah, I like it.
No.
I'm not necessarily in favor of adding holidays and time and things of that nature. We seem to have this discussion about every 6 months, every time there's a holiday close to another holiday or things of that nature. We seem to create days to create time off, but whatever you guys want to do.
I would agree with that. I think if this were not a COVID year, and with all the idiosyncrasies of the election effort and everything, I would not be in favor of this. But given the type of year it's been, then I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I think, and I think all departments have done a pretty good job this year. The fire department's handled more calls, and Public Works has been receiving quite a bit of praise, and Becky did a fantastic job with the elections, and the town hall's been running great. So, yeah, I think it's a good idea to do it this year.
All right, do you want to make a motion, Rob?
Yeah, I would move that we close the town office on New Year's Eve, and for other town employees that are not in the office, we add 8 hours of comp time to their bank, or whatever you want to call it.
That would be full-time employees, right?
Full-time employees, yeah.
Is there a second to that?
I'll second it.
All right, Mark seconds. Any further discussion? All right, if you're in favor of the motion, well, actually, tell me, you state your vote on the motion when I call your name, please. Rob Ponto,
Yes.
Rich George,
No.
Todd Bollier,
Yes.
Mark Farren,
Yes.
and I am a yes. So we have 4-1 on that one motion passed. Okay, now the fun topic, 4D, changing the town email service. All right, Ruth, where are we now? Because it seems like the spam has picked up again, and we can't keep going like this.
Well, yeah, so the suspicion is that somebody's purchased the list, and so, now they're doing it. It's not that our server's been compromised again, it's just that the information is out there. And so At your request, I had looked into doing Gmail. We can do Gmail accounts at $6 a piece per email. And then we can do $12 a year for a domain. They do have a specific government program. It's not any cheaper, but they said that it has a little more security attached to it. I haven't really gotten into the deep dive yet, but I think that frankly, Tammy and I could probably transfer most of the stuff over.
Okay.
I would agree with that.
Is that Rich? You said you agree with
Yeah,
that?
I would agree with that. It's pretty user friendly.
Yeah, I think the only thing we may need BEK for is maybe migrating some of the emails and maybe setting up the emails on some of the phones, perhaps.
Okay.
Ruth, how many employees need email or have email?
We have about 33, so I figure somewhere between 33 and 40 is going to be the final number of emails. So it
Yeah.
comes to about 3,000 a year,
What are we paying now, roughly?
about 2,200.
That's-
But we would also get rid of the Comcast emails, so that would go away too.
Yeah, you'd only have one email now instead of 3 or whatever that you have,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that would be good, huh?
Yeah, I think so.
I have 5 or 6.
And that $6 a month plan gives what, a 30 gig limit?
Yeah, I think so. And then I had it up, and then it gives you access to the doc stuff. The other thing that they're trying to sell is meeting abilities.
Yeah.
But if you want the meeting abilities, you pay more, because you can't record unless you go up to the next level, and the next level is $12 per email. So it doesn't make any sense for us to do that. It makes more sense to just stay with the Zoom.
Yeah, if you wanted to do that, you just do 1 or 2 accounts under a separate domain if you wanted to do that, rather than get it for all 40 of them.
I think it'd be just as easy to stay with the Zoom.
Yeah, Zoom's good. Everybody, I have the full Gmail and I use Zoom at work. So
Same here.
Bruce,
Yeah, Calvin?
Calvin, go ahead.
why do other towns all have emails that end in .gov and we don't? Is there a way to get that, or is that?
Well, I will ask them that. Robert asked me the same question, but I actually was looking at doing a .org. So durhammaine.org would be our email address at the end. But I will ask them about the gov.
Yeah, I don't know, do those tags mean anything? Do they?
I think they look more official. I think people trust them more than.
They look more official, but there's sometimes some of these people go in and they buy up or they claim the rights to that particular domain and you're unable to get it, for example. That's what typically happens. I've had that happen within my own company. I mean,
right. And if I chime in, like usually .com stands for like a commercial business,
Yes.
whatever. Org is like an organization, I think usually nonprofits. So .gov might be the way to go because you are a government organization, if you can get that. But that would be my 2 cents on it. So
I did look for
agree.
the durhammaine.gov and it said it wasn't available, but that I may be able to find something else that we could do.
Yeah, that might be something, Durhamtown.gov or, Durham ME, whatever. So, okay. So, what are the next steps here? Do we need to, do we need to vote to have you start the process of?
I don't think I need a vote. I just probably need your permission, that you guys are okay with us.
Is anybody not okay with it? I'm seeing thumbs up on the screen. So the only thing I wondered is there any risk of basically contaminating our new email by forwarding all the crap to the new one?
Tammy? She's doing 2 meetings.
no, I mean potentially yes, but that's where I might be an advocate of having BEK work with us to do the transfers because they are more adept at making sure that those viruses don't transfer with it. They'd be looking more at the signature of the emails, and that's something that I can do, but it takes a lot more coding on my behalf. And I think they've already got a hold on what's in there because they've been looking at these virus emails. So yeah, that would be my only thing is like maybe advocating for them helping us do the transfer over. So, or we could just try to keep eradicating them all. But the thing is, some people are getting these and they're hitting reply or they're forwarding them again or whatever, and they come right back. So, yeah.
Well, what's the additional cost to have them involved in helping you with the transfer?
What do you, Ruth?
Well, they charge 135 an hour. So I don't remember what the quote was for the 365, so I assume it's somewhat similar. Although we might be able to cut it down somewhat because we'll be doing some of the legwork in the background too.
Yeah. My biggest concerns would be the code enforcement officer one. I think that one got infected the most. And then we can kind of assess as we go, but I'd like to have them on kind of retainer maybe if we need them, but I think we might be able to transfer without taking all that stuff. So,
Well, even, I think as long as you can manage it within the
Right.
administrative budget, then I think, it takes what it takes to get it done. I mean, I
Yeah.
think just, you want to get it done.
So it looks like the email migration cost was 1,160.
Yeah, so, it's a few hours work, so,
yeah.
Rich?
Have we contacted Google, not just through their site, but as one of their representatives?
Yes.
Because you have, and did they give you a quote of bringing anything over rather than using BEK?
I didn't ask them that. I didn't know that they would do that.
Yeah, they may
Yep.
migrate. Yeah.
They'll migrate.
Yeah.
I don't know what they charge. I have never really used that service, but I do know people who have. They're a full shop,
Mm-hmm.
as far as what their capacity is. I mean, they can do pretty much anything.
Yeah, might be worth giving them a call, Ruth and or Tammy, whoever's taking lead on this, and kind of giving, hey, this is our situation, this is the move we're considering. What can you guys do to help us, facilitate this? How much would it cost? Yada yada yada.
Okay.
But I wouldn't. I think I don't know how you guys feel, but I think we need to move on this like
Yesterday.
we can. I don't want to just wait until the next meeting and have a report come back. And so, since it doesn't require a vote, I think move forward with your, fact finding, and then just, keep the board informed. And if something comes up that we do need to vote on, then we need to pull together a meeting, then we can do that. But I think we need to prioritize and get it moving forward.
I agree.
Okay.
Okay. We are now into department reports, and the fire chief is first tonight.
Good evening. I sent my report out this afternoon. There's very little on it. We just continue to manage calls. The only thing with the vaccine becoming available, we are working with county EMA and with Maine EMS to get our staff coordinated. We're low on the list simply because of call volume and the fact that we still have yet to transport a positive COVID patient. So it's going to the bigger centers, Auburn, Brunswick, places like that. But we're on the list. Looks like the first of the year, so I'm working with them to get that scheduled. And the only other question I had was, had there been any movement or discussion? The board was reaching out to other towns, or Kevin, you had said you were going to reach out about the RFP.
Yep. Ruth, did we get any other responses other than those first two you sent me, like right out of the gate on there?
Nope.
No, that was it. Okay.
That was it, yeah.
Okay. So I think we can be ready to send this out pretty soon, Chief. I in my own mind, I was wondering, well, should we wait until we actually have hired the town manager before we send this out or whatever? And, and I talked to some, and conversations with others. Well, no, we can at least get the RFP out there.
Right.
I do want to, and I'll do this, I do want to add a section that takes a little bit larger scope of the issue and basically ask for whoever's doing this work to really like almost take a bottoms up approach. Like if Durham didn't have a fire department and EMS service today, given the characteristics of the town and our fiscal capacity and whatever, what would be considered, appropriate? And
So what you're talking about is a fire protection study, and that's not. Yeah, I I don't see anything wrong with that either. You can just expect that with something like that, the cost is going to increase because they're going to be
Well-
taking a larger chunk of information.
Yeah.
Whoever it is. That's all.
It wasn't, I believe you, when you were originally pitching this to us, I definitely got the impression that that was part of the process, at least with the example that you gave us. Is that?
Right, but that is more, it was more focused towards apparatus funding and things like that. You want to talk about it, like I said, this is what we're talking about, the difference between a fleet evaluation and a fire protection study for the entire town. There's information that comes out in the fleet evaluation, but if you're talking about a really in-depth review like that, that is a larger scope. So just making you aware of that.
Yeah, I mean, well, and again, this is me. Other board members may not feel that's necessary, but to me, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to just evaluate your equipment, and if you haven't even evaluated whether you actually need that piece of equipment or not, or maybe you need something else that you don't have, especially then there's where in the conversation is the balance of, yeah, it would be great if the town could have, X, Y, and Z, but given the lack of a commercial tax base and the burden the town already has, they can't really afford that. So really, you should be looking at, ABC instead of X, Y, Z.
Sure. And like I said, I don't object to any of that as
Yeah.
part of as putting that in.
No, I didn't think you would, but
Yeah,
What's the,
Sorry, go ahead.
Chief, what's the difference in cost between the two? Like if you did the whole thing?
Well, I
roughly?
don't know. I don't do this for a living. I know that was it Falmouth recently had one done, and they did that, and they went full boat with full-time staffing. They like tripled the size of their department. So, like I said, it depends. It depends on what you request out of the RFP. And I guess it depends on what the company offers to provide in the response to that RFP. So I think that this is the groundwork for us to look at what's out there, what's available for us. Can we piecemeal what we're looking for, or do we need to take it as an all-in-one kind of thing? So I think the start to get it out there is where we need to go. We don't have to accept any of them.
right, that exactly.
But if we put it out there, it gives us an idea of if all of the RFPs come back and they're all missing a key element that we're looking for, then we refine it.
Yeah.
But getting it started to give us a price point and an idea of where this is going is what I really want.
Yep. No, I agree, because it will certainly inform the budget process. Though I don't know if even if the thing went out tomorrow, I don't know if we're gonna have any hard numbers for by the end of January.
I don't think it's anything that provides us with a perspective for this year, because any company that is able to turn around that much information that fast is not giving us a quality product.
Yeah.
I'm expecting whoever comes in to take their time and do this right and give us valuable information to plan pretty far out with.
Yep. Yeah, I think we're on the same page, Chief. I didn't see this, pardon the pun, as a burning platform that we needed to do something like, today. But I think, so how about, why don't I write up what I'm, I'll put down on paper as a suggested additional, section of the RFP, and I'll send it out to everybody. People can provide feedback or whatever, and then see where it goes from there. Does that sound okay?
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Are we looking to get the RFP out so we get actual numbers in time for budgeting?
I think, as we were just saying, that's probably not realistic, because
So he's just going to carry a number and make it close.
I don't know. Do we need to carry a number for that in 2021? Or are we using 2021 to kind of get the number and then budget for it for 2022?
I think we use 2021 to get the number to budget for it, because we've talked about this. We have no idea what the financial situation looks like in the next 6 months.
Yeah, I think coming out of COVID, 2021 is going to be a really difficult budget year. Just if for no other reason, there'll be so many unknowns with regard to local revenue sharing, and also, even though it doesn't impact, it's nothing we can do anything about, but if the school district gets a lot less aid, then, that's a bigger impact on our taxpayers as well. So even though it's not the municipal budget. So I agree that we use 2021 to get the number, and especially since we have a town manager coming on board, hopefully sometime in 2021, to have them be pretty involved in the process, I think would make sense as well. But.
Right. I mean, depending on what the number looks like, if it's feasible, we do it closer to the end of the year. But I don't think it's anything that we can plan for right now. So I don't think that's realistic. But
all right, good. Sounds like we're all pretty much on the same page with that one. But okay.
Yep.
Anything else or any other questions from board members for the chief?
Yeah, I had one. Chief, what's the total? You said in your report we're up by 20 calls for the year.
right.
What's the total call volume?
So we're at 341 calls for the year right now. And then at the end of the year, that gets broken out into fire versus MS response, because sometimes they're dual response with car accidents and fires and things like that, and sometimes they're not. So 342 total calls for the year right now, and that's
All right.
20 ahead of where we were last year.
So yeah, it's like 4.5%, something like that. Probably
Yeah.
5% more. Okay. I was just curious. I saw the number. I didn't know what perspective that is. So
And I think that when you provide those numbers, you give us like 3 to 5 years of history too, right? So we can kind of see.
Yes.
Remember, right, last year was kind of abnormally low compared to the previous year, and this year coming back up again, it might be close to historical average, or maybe even higher than historical average. But
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look at that once we get the final numbers for the year.
yeah, okay, all right. Anything else for the chief? Okay, thanks, chief.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
All right, Calvin, you're up. Road commissioner report.
So Crooker almost finished shouldering the Rangdale. We finished Deerville, and we're just about finished on Rangdale, and the snow hit when we had about 600 feet left on the final lane going in. So we had to pull a plug on that. We couldn't get the snow out of the shoulder, and I didn't want to put a reclaim on top of it and have it melt in the spring. So I just told them to pull the plug. So we'll finish that in the spring. That's going to be about a $3,000 item that we'll take care of in next year's budget. Continued work on the 2021 budget and get it to Ruth today. So both Ron and I completed a webinar class, motivating, engaging, and inspiring employees. That was quite insightful. We got some great takeaways from that. We're putting a lot of those things into practice. I attended the Southern Maine Public Works Group session last week, hosted by GPCOG. Our final work product then went to the town managers meeting, GPCOG's town managers meeting, and then the idea was to go over it with the town managers. The final product, which I included in my report, sent along, was after their input was in place, and so that's the final work product after the town manager review. And now we're kind of all in a place where all of the town managers and administrators have submitted that to their councils and boards, and we're just all, I talked to Tony Plant yesterday from GPCOG and asked him how many towns were signed up, and he said right now we're all doing the same thing. He said he's got a lot of interest from town managers, and right now everybody's just waiting for the boards to get these signed and back to them. So that's what I have on that. I don't know if you guys had a chance to look at that agreement. We've pulled the plug on ditching for now. I think this rain will.
Hey, Calvin, hold up. Let's talk about the agreement to see if, since that's part of your thing, any board members have any questions or comments on that mutual compact proposal?
I didn't have too many questions because I read it over a couple times and I've seen similar stuff that I've dealt with at my office. There's a clause in there that basically says, for each instance, we decide whether we're going to help or not, or we can come up with our own contracts and agreements and use the FEMA rate. So I don't have a problem with that. And then, of course, it says we can get out of the compact at any time with or without cause. So there's nothing binding about this. It's almost symbolic in a way, the way it's written. So I have no problem signing it because there's so many safety valves built in. We're not, and I think Ruth, you and I talked, you had Jack look into it. As long as we're not adding any liability for the town, then I'm fine with it.
That was my question because the agreement doesn't really address liability. So like my question is like, Calvin, not that any of you guys would do this, but if we loan a plow and a driver to Falmouth and we swipe the side of a BMW parked on the side of the road in Falmouth, where's the liability for that?
That would be a Jack question. All I know is they're telling us it went through their legal review process. That's all I know. But
it feels like that. It feels like the agreement ought to address it.
So in the managers meeting, we did discuss things like that as far as, workers' comp and all that other stuff. And what it was agreed upon was that that you covered your employee. So I assume that would mean that if you were to sideswipe a BMW, then your truck was one that sideswiped it, and you would be the one who would have to deal with that. Just like if somebody else came to Durham and sideswiped a BMW in Durham, their liability would have to cover that.
That include taking out mailboxes?
Well, we don't have to cover mailboxes.
well, we do according to our policy.
Well, yes. I think, yeah.
Up to like $50 or something like that.
Yeah.
City take out a $500 million.
I think the liability in terms of the swiping would go with the vehicle unless the driver was impaired or something of that nature. But the vehicle would cover the liability aspect of it. Whose vehicle it is.
Yeah, I was kind of, sorry, go ahead. I thought you were done.
So one of the other aspects is that letter E on the section 1 says that an authorized representative, so that the board would have to assign an authorized representative to negotiate with another town to either receive equipment from another town or send equipment to another town. So each town would have to have an authorized representative to make that decision.
Well, wouldn't that be you?
Yeah, but I would need the board to vote on that, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy to consult on it, but ultimately, what our resources are and what we can handle. So,
yeah,
definitely lean on you for that decision.
Is this the first time we've ever had anything like this, Calvin or Ruth?
I think it's kind of been behind the scenes for a while, but we've never used it.
Well, I've talked to several other town public works directors, and they've all just kind of said, well, if you need a truck, we'll be there. It's like it's always been. If you need something, just call us. So this kind of puts some legality to it.
Bureaucracy into it.
That's what I'm thinking.
Everybody's like, what are you talking about? We've always done that. If you need help, you just let us know.
Let's get somebody's signature on a paper,
Yeah.
Well, I guess if the general consensus is we've always done this, which I agree, we've always helped our neighbors and so forth. What's the point of this?
I think it's just this cites the statute of giving us authority to do it, and
But that's already on the books. I'm just asking
I think it
if there's
also widens our ability. So it gives us more options with more different communities that are going to be involved.
Well, and I think it does. I mean, one thing I think it does is that it kind of spells out like how reimbursement should work and what you're going to be expected to reimburse the other town. Kind of leave that up to, understanding in a handshake. It's kind of spelled out, how that would work, which I think is valuable.
I think there's value. My only deal, like you brought up Falmouth, I'm fine with mutual aid towards, the neighboring communities, your Lisbons, your Pownells, your Auburns, your Lewistons, et cetera, something close. But, these larger cities, I would think, I'm just afraid that, well, Durham's a slower town. We'll just pull from them because the town next to us doesn't necessarily have the resources or they're.
That's a good point, Cal, because this is a GP cog agreement. Is that right?
Yeah.
So we are at the very northern edge of GP
Correct.
cog, and so most of the towns around us, except for Freeport and Pownell, would not be part of GP cog. So like,
Freeport, Pownell,
what's that?
Freeport, Pownell, Brunswick, New Gloucester. 4 of the 6 abutting towns are in Cumberland
That's
County.
true. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's true. It's just Lisbon and Topsom that aren't. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and to address that same concern, there's still the clause that says we don't have to. So if Falmouth comes requesting, we just, we say, sorry, Falmouth. I mean, maybe we'd still be able to, but you take it on a case-by-case basis anyway. So it's really just formalizing what we already do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Calvin, is this the final version, the one that they're actually asking boards to vote on and somebody sign?
So you see the one that Ruth forwarded says Town of Yarmouth. The one that I forwarded, I changed that to Durham.
Yeah, that's good. Okay.
So are you looking for this approval tonight?
I personally don't want to be the first ones to sign this. It seems weird to me that no other towns have gotten it back to them yet. And that might be the case next meeting that, a lot of the towns have gotten it in, they're just reviewing, but I want to see what partakes before I'm interested in signing it.
What if we made an approval for the contract, assuming that, 80% of the other towns in GP cog also sign on, then at that time we'll sign the agreement or something like that. Because they may want to do the same thing. They may say, well, we're going to wait and see what the other towns do.
I think that's prudent in their behalf.
But somebody has to, that's all I'm saying. Like,
I guess if it's in place and, the chances of us, we're typically, working with Pownell or we're working with Lisbon and so forth or Freeport, we know that's in place if they need us or that we need them, that, we have that type of agreement. So what's the rush to sign something until we know exactly? I'm just not sure exactly what we're signing at this point in time. If it's already in place, I'm not. I know it formalizes it and it takes out the guesswork of what you're going to bill and billable hours, et cetera, or who's liable. It doesn't necessarily pose the question of whose liability, because we all have questions about that, but specifically. But what's the rush of signing this? Why don't we see what everybody comes up? Because I'm guessing there's going to be different renditions that can come out from this if nobody's gotten it back yet.
What about, why don't we, we could sit on it until our meeting later in January, if that would make people more comfortable. On the one hand, I think Rob made the point, this is, even signing this agreement doesn't commit us to anything. We could just say, no, we can't, we don't have resources available to help at this time.
I get that component, and that's why I'm kind of skeptical, because anybody that has the resources available is going to help out.
Yeah, maybe this is a question for the chief, but do we sign a mutual aid agreement for the fire department? I don't remember us talking. I know we have it, but
we do. I reviewed and updated all of those last year, actually. But this is a little bit of a different, animal, because when it comes to the fire service, it's actual mutual aid. There's no billing involved. There's no recuperation of monies. In speaking of liability, if I send a truck out of town to Freeport to go to a fire and there's an accident, that's on us. That Freeport doesn't take any ownership of that or anything like that. What this really sounds like to me is an agreement that allows communities to bill us and vice versa to actually recoup money if they utilize this. It's really just a formalized billing plan.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Because if it were truly just about the mutual aid aspect of it, like I said, with the fire service, we don't bill them, they don't bill us. It's actual mutual aid. But with this having a billing component and structure involved in it, that sounds what the majority of this is about.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, we don't really have to do this at all. We can, say if somebody needs something from us, they can call, and if we need something from somebody else, we can call.
Well, without this signed, I wouldn't send a truck out of this town. And I don't think you would want me to, and I probably wouldn't want to accept another truck without your authorization first. This agreement kind of opens that gate to allow me to negotiate if I need a truck.
That's what I don't get. If we have mutual aid, why wouldn't you send a truck out of town?
Well, the statute allows for mutual aid, but as we said in the meeting, they wouldn't recommend doing it without your board's approval. I don't know how the fire department works, but it's.
So when Pownell calls us and says, "Hey, we need to borrow XYZ to go fix a road," and we loan them whatever it may be. Maybe they loan you their grader. Do we get board approval to borrow their grader? No, in the past.
No, not in the past. We haven't. No.
Okay. So why is this different?
Well, this is a little different in that we're just trying to put some formality to it.
The fire department aspect of it also does function under a state statute, but it works because there's no money exchanging hands. That seems to be the whole hang up with
Once you change money, there's a liability that exchanges hands.
Yes. But they're trying to have money exchange hands without liability exchanging hands. And I wouldn't get into that. Just my 2 cents.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, the more we talk about this, I mean, it's kind of a useless. I mean, it's or maybe not useless, but I'm just not wondering. I'm just, other than bureaucratic structure, I just don't know what purpose it serves.
And being honest, if I can throw another thought in there, are we more likely to need help, or are we going to be more likely to give help to another community? We're a smaller town, we have less resources, so if we lose, Calvin goes down a truck, he's more likely to need a truck or a driver. This leaves us on the hook to pay another community more likely than they're going to take anything from us at any point, really. That's what it seems.
Well, that's actually a good point. I mean, yes, we may have to pay another community, but if we have an outbreak of COVID, we're going to be hurting much more than like the city of Portland. And so it does give us more resources to pull from. We can call Portland, Gorham, South Portland, some of those larger communities down there that, if they've run 20 trucks, lending one to Durham's not that big a deal. So that's a good point, but I think it's actually a benefit to the smaller communities more than it is a hindrance, And again, we could still call Gorham and South Portland without this in place. So
I guess that's why it's just confusing to me, because I've operated in the last 25 years and it's never been an issue, because just you're going to help out and then you go home and there's no money involved. So.
Yeah, it's kind of like helping your neighbor, right? You don't really question it. You just go and help your neighbor. There's no, my neighbor needs to be plowed out because his snow shovel broke or whatever. I don't question it and say, well, how's $45 an hour sound, and I'll get that done for you, so you and your wife can get to work today.
If that's what you're paying, I'll be over.
Oh, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
But I would say that the town of Durham has a lot more to gain than the other communities. I mean, we have more to gain than to lose. Like Rob says, the other towns around us have, transfer stations, public water, public sewer. They have other departments to draw from that we don't have. Most every other town has a full-time employee for every plow route, which we don't have. So it's I think we're more vulnerable than most. which is why I've been pushing this since the beginning, is we need to make sure that we are prepared.
Yeah, but I think we've also said from the beginning that this should not be your plan A
It-
for,
It's not plan A, but it's just an added security that,
Well, Calvin, take it back to him, I guess, and tell him that we don't really have objections. We want to get some feedback from the other towns and make sure that they sign on, and then I think we'd be more comfortable from that standpoint.
Calvin, what prohibits you from starting agreement outside of GP cog with such a entity such as Lisbon or Freeport and Pownell? Why do we need, or even Auburn for that matter? Why does this gentleman's agreement, or in this case a written agreement, have to be through GP cog? Why don't we have those resources in place already just by, our networking within the community?
well, they put the legal, they've put all of the resources into it from a legal standpoint and contractual. They've put the work into this document that,
Well, I think that's where my issue lies, is with just the two words that you say, the legal and the contractual part of it. But it's not really a contract because it's open-ended. But I'm just asking from your standpoint and your shop standpoint, don't you have the networking already in place between the towns that surround our community?
yeah, but we would have to hire, we'd have to get Jack to draw up an
No,
agreement.
just a gentleman's agreement. Like, hey, if I have a truck down, can you come help me? Just as the same as if Pownell has a truck down, I'm sure you would go help them. We've done it in the past many times.
Well, we had an agreement with Pownell back then, and that was different. And now that we're split towns, we don't have that. So
I'm just talking about being a neighbor. I'm not talking about anything specific. And perhaps I'm not wording this correctly. I'm just talking about, their road commissioner, they know you, the public works director of Lisbon. Hey, do we have a gentleman's agreement or something? It's just networking between the towns that are in our existing area.
yeah, I mean, if you're okay with me sending another truck to another town without talking with you guys, I could do that. But this document puts that in place. And I mean, I guess I'm not sure where you're going.
well, it sounds like this document, you're basically looking for us to vote to give you that authority to do it anyway.
Correct.
So I guess I just don't see the point of this agreement other than somebody in an agency needed something to do.
That's where I'm at with it.
So, but to be clear, Rich, you're telling Calvin, go over to your neighbors, give them a call.
I'm not telling him. I would think that would already be in place, Rob. I'm
Yeah,
not telling him to do
but
that.
if
I would
it's
think that
not-
we would already have those established that type of relationship with our neighbors.
Yeah, but if it's not, go do it. Get a couple
Well,
towns.
why wouldn't it be?
What do you mean? Why?
Why would the surrounding communities in terms of the public works directors in the town of Pownell's road commissioner, et cetera? And why wouldn't we? We've done joint operations for lack of better words, with Pownell many times over the years.
Well, Pownell, like you said, because we had agreement, we've never sent a truck to Lisbon or Brunswick or.
But if they needed
Gloucester.
it, just like if we need an ambulance or we need a police intercept to come over here real quick because they're the closest in town, they come. It's just
Yeah.
what you do to your neighbors is what I was trying to,
I don't have a problem with it. I'm just saying we'll give Calvin that same authority basically to just do it. I mean, work it out, is make the best decision, and soon we'll have a town manager and he can talk it over with the town manager and they can decide what's best if he has a question. But I'm all in favor.
I don't know if he necessarily needs you. Like I said, I know we've used, for example, maybe whatever agreement was in the past, but for example, we use Pownell's road grader every year. I don't think the board gives him approval to go negotiate that.
I think there might be, though, I'm going to kind of talk, play devil's advocate on the other side of the issue now. I think there's a difference between, a Durham and a Pownell, two very small towns, that don't have large organizational structures controlling these like public works departments and things. But as you get into bigger towns that are managing bigger departments, not surprising that they would want more structure and a bit of a roadmap, if you will. It's like, if towns need to borrow from each other, here's kind of the rules of the road. You know, like if I have to send a plow driver to another town, you know, and I'm paying that, the taxpayers of that town are paying that driver, then the taxpayers of the town he's helping out should reimburse the taxpayers for the sending town. And I get what you're saying, Chief, about, if he's still with us, yes, about the mutual aid and emergency services. I think that's a different level of urgency, if you will, and cooperation, and maybe just much more longer established behavior, if you will. But I guess, as much as this agreement may not be necessary in our minds or needed, is there really a downside to just signing it and at least,
I mean, it says right in the opening paragraph, it's as needed, as able basis. So.
Right. It's completely our call. If somebody calls us, it's completely our call, whether we send anything or not.
Right.
We don't have any extra plows.
What's
Right.
that, Todd?
We don't have any extra plows. So
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, the odds are,
be helping them.
right, but I think to Rob's point and Calvin too, if 3 of our plow drivers went down with COVID, some of these larger towns have deep enough staff where they might be able to spare to come drive one of our trucks for the storm if we were stuck.
So after all that, I'm right back to where I started. It doesn't hurt. There's nothing that says there's no commitment and there's no added liability. So
Right.
I'll make a motion that we approve the contract.
And are you going to include in that motion who is the appointed authorized representative?
Yeah, Calvin would be the authorized representative.
Okay. All right.
Signs it too.
And you guys could always add that Rob would look over the agreement before anything left town.
Yeah. You should consult with myself and at least the chair and, and in our absence, get at least one other selectman, at least let us know for sure.
And give Calvin the right to sign it too.
Okay, I would move that we approve the contract and allow Calvin to sign it as the authorized representative.
Okay. Is there a second on that? I'll second it to get us into the discussion phase. Further discussion. All right. So the motion is to sign I want to get the name of this right. The memorandum of understanding, the Public Works Mutual Aid Compact, and to appoint Calvin as the authorized representative. Okay. All right. So if you are, please state your vote on the motion, whether you're in favor or not, when I call your name. Rob Ponto,
Yes.
Rich George,
No.
Todd Bullier,
Yes.
Mark Farren,
No.
and I'm going to vote yes. So 3-2, motion passes. I don't know if we've ever had that before.
Almost
We've never had a 3-2.
Well, as we said, it almost doesn't matter either way. So 3-2 is fitting.
It's kind of like, are we creating a bigger headache by not doing it than by doing it? But
Right.
anyway, so, okay, moving on.
Yeah.
Calvin, anything else in your report? We kind of stopped your report there when you were.
Well, a new plow truck is in Durham being painted, and we should have that, I think, right about the first of the year. They told me the first of the year. Could be done next week.
Okay, but we're still looking at a 2021 delivery.
Yep.
Because at this point, we just encumbered the money, so, well, I guess we don't have to. We could still pay it in 2020, right, Ruth? We don't have to carry it over.
We can
Well, we'd have to
unencumber, can't we?
We would have to
We
proceed.
encumbered it.
So,
So, yeah, Ruth? Well, Calvin, just let them know that they're not getting any money until 2021.
okay. All right.
So, all right, that's only 8 days or 9 days. I think they'll be all right. We waited long enough for the truck. They can wait a little bit for the check.
That's
All
all.
right. Anything else? That's it? Okay. All right. Consent agenda. Is there anything the board members wanted to pull off a consent agenda? Or if not, I would entertain a motion there. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. I'm going back to 5C. I think we covered all our stuff already. But Town Administrator Ruth, did you have anything else to discuss?
No, not really.
Okay. All right. So I will go to consent agenda. Is there a motion on the consent agenda?
So moved. Accept this consent agenda as written.
Okay. Is there a second on that?
I'll second.
Mark seconds. All right. There's no discussion on this one. So state your vote when I call your name, please. Rob Ponto,
Yes.
Rich George,
Yes.
Todd Boyer,
Yes.
Mark Farren,
Yes.
and I'm a yes as well. Okay. So announcements, upcoming meetings. So our next actual meeting is the January 5th workshop with David Barrett from MMA and this will be a public input workshop for the needs assessment for the town manager search. This is the one where we're really inviting people to come and provide their input on what they think are important skills and characteristics of a town manager for Durham. That is January 5th at 6 p.m., a little bit earlier than our normal start on Tuesday, January 5th. And then our next regular meeting is Tuesday, January 12th at 6:30, and then again, January 26th at 6:30. But as we saw earlier, there's several budget meetings in there as well. So. Okay, at this point, I am going to move that we enter executive session pursuant to 1 MRSA 405-6A personnel matters. I need a second on that, please.
Second.
Rich seconds. All right, and state your vote when I call your name. Rob Ponto. What, Rob?
I am muted for a sec. Yes.
Okay. Rich George.
Yes.
Todd Boyer.
Yes.
Mark Farren.
Yes.
And I am a yes. Okay, we are going into executive session.